Mariners today. This comes after the A's suffered a rough loss against the Mariners yesterday, 10-2. Giants didn't fare much better last, losing to the Rockies. Both teams playing again in just over an hour or so. And for more sports now, here's Ted.
It was a special moment for the A's top prospect, Shea Langoliers, who was called up Tuesday and put into the lineup for the first time ever on Wednesday.
So here is Shea Langoliers' first pitch. Rips one toward the left field corner, and it is a fair ball. Langoliers is going to have to hustle. I think he thought maybe it bounced into the seats, or I'm not sure. He slowed down, rounding first, and then realized he had to hustle up. He ends up with a double on the first big league pitch he sees.
Glenn Kuiper with the call for NBC Sports California as Langoliers gets a hit in his first ever major league at bat, swinging at the first pitch that he saw. So, was there a method to that madness?
Yeah, I was talking to Kemp before that at bat, and he says you only get one first pitch as a big leaguer, so why not swing at it?
The A's went on to win that game in Texas by a final of 5-1. Langoliers from the area, so he got to do it in front of friends and family. At the sports desk, Ted Ramey, KCBS.
When you're locked up for a violent crime, how do you come to terms with the harm you've caused, and what will stop you from doing it again?
You didn't kill the person physically, but you killed her soul.
I'm KCBS reporter Kathy Novak. Join me inside Soledad State Prison Monday morning right here on the Bay Area's #1 news station, KCBS, and streaming live on the Odyssey app.
An emergency resulting in power loss can happen at any time. If you rely on power for basic life functions, the time is now to prepare. Visit disabilitydisasteraccess.org or call 211 for assistance preparing.
Shouldn't you breathe clean air all day, every day? Help protect yourself with IQ Air's Health Pro Plus Air Purifier, the #1 large room air purification choice for viruses. These Swiss-made air purifiers Hospital Authority, not only for SARS-CoV-1, but also SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19. Using patented, industry-leading hyper-HEPA filtration, the Health Pro Plus captures particles down to 0.003 microns, the smallest that exists. Now and for a limited time only, use the promo code KCBS5 and save 5% on your Autumn or Health Pro Plus air purifier. Visit IQAir.com/US or call 888-409-6202. That's IQAir.com/US or call 888-409-6202. Help protect your loved ones and get the healthy indoor air that you deserve today.
418 had KCBS traffic and weather together every 10 minutes. We'll head over and check in with Darren again in a moment. But first, back to the Santa Cruz Mountains for this update with Shane.
Yeah, it's not a bad update right now. I actually have the left lane open at this moment. 17 northbound right here at Redwood Estate. You were able to go ahead and transport the motorcyclist over to a hospital. So things are looking much brighter at this moment. Also, with that left lane being open, we're seeing a little bit of slow traffic still from Laurel. We're starting to flow through there at a much quicker pace. Now, if you're leaving out of Los Gatos, you're still just going to run into a lot of slowing from Highway 9 all the way down to Summit. And good news with that. 101 southbound just after 3rd Street. That motorcycle wreck has been cleared out of lanes. Everything's open, and traffic is flowing pretty good pace at this moment. As you continue southbound on 101, make your way to the airport. No issues to report. You're going to run into a little blip of a slowdown right there near Poplar Avenue. But then after that, 101 southbound, continuing on through the peninsula all the way into San Jose. It's going to be a really good drive. Updates at 428 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
Well, it was hot today. Temperatures got back up to 100 in the Tri-Valley. It was upper 90s up around Concord. San Jose got into 90s in the North Bay, and temperatures were hitting the low 80s along much of the peninsula and the East Bay shoreline. Tomorrow, everybody gets a noticeable drop. Some of us as much as 10 or 12 degrees. So those warm inland numbers for Concord, Livermore, Tri-Valley, you'll go down to the low 90s, maybe even some upper 80s tomorrow. You will get you close to average. San Jose's going from the low 90s today down to the low 80s, and much of the Bay shoreline should be made up. 60s, Santa Rosa, the mid-80s. So that's a big drop from one day to the next. Monday we're going to warm back up again, but not as hot as today. But we do warm up noticeably again for Monday, and then the temperatures come back down, but not as much as they will tomorrow. So you get the theme here. We're going to level things out a bit. Most of next week will be mid-80s, mid-upper 80s for our warmest inland spots, and then the usual suspects along the bay will range in the 70s. Pretty quiet week, actually. I'm meteorologist Darren Peck with your KCBS KPIX5 First Alert Forecast.
Thank you, Darren. Traffic and weather together on KCBS. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell expressing doubts over whether the Republican Party will gain control of the Senate in the fall elections, citing candidate quality as a factor that could push the 50-50 Senate in one direction or the other. And we're joined on the KCBS Ring Central Newsline by our political analyst, Larry Gersten. So, Larry, when he says candidate quality, what exactly is he trying to say without coming out and saying it?
He knows of what he speaks. We're really talking about the candidates, senatorial candidates, many of whom were supported, endorsed by former President Trump, endorsed to well enough to get the nomination, but because they are so far out of the mainstream, there's another question, a doubtful question to Senator McConnell, as if they could, to which they might be able to actually get elected in November. And this is important because the Senate right now is 50-50. There are very few open seats. By that we mean seats where there's not an incumbent running, and at least 3 big cases, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, these should be Republican seats because the people there previously were Republican. But at the moment, they all look to be in jeopardy.
So what do you think Republicans can do then between now and the fall to try and sell their candidates as quality members of the party or to get the name recognition out?
Well, it's not even name recognition as much as actually they have the recognition and they believe that these candidates are far from the mainstream. So what these candidates have to do basically is pivot and somehow convince the voters that they're not as radical as they presented themselves in the primary. We're talking about J.D. Vance in Ohio. We're talking about Mehmet Oz in Pennsylvania and Herschel Walker in Georgia, all of whom, by the way, were selected, anointed, if you will, by former President Trump. And most people think it's because they were famous. But fame doesn't necessarily get you elected to the U.S. Senate if it's for something other than your political past.
So is the president, the former president, going to be needed out on the campaign trail between now and then, do you think, or will they want him to keep his distance?
Isn't that the question? We don't know. My guess is that this is a situation where they'll take what they can get, and this is compounded by the fact that their fundraising in every case has lagged, and so they go to the former president, with the hope that not only will he gather his supporters behind him, but they'll be able to raise some money as well. But remember, the Trump folks are a big chunk of the Republican Party, but they're not a big chunk of the electorate. So why these folks all won, particularly Vance and Oz, with 35% or so of the vote, that's not a majority. And they're not likely to get Democrats, and right now it looks like they're really hurting for independents. That's what leaves them in a bind.
And this happened, didn't it, in 2010 and 2012, didn't it? I mean, there were these weak candidates. I think Christine O'Donnell is coming to mind right now. So don't you think they should have learned something from that experience?
Right. Also, Sharon Anger in Nevada. Yeah, you would think so. You would think so. But former President Trump, as you know, has got a pretty sizable ego. And when he anoints somebody, they think, this is it. But in every one of those cases, the Republicans are trailing. Now, it's not necessarily a lost cause. They're trailing by somewhere between 7 and 10 points. But 11 weeks out, you don't want to be trailing by that kind of margin, especially if you're having a problem raising money. So they have their work cut out for them. Now, remember, if they were able to capture just 1 or 2 of those seats, it would probably give McConnell the 51 or 52 seats he needed. But at this point, it looks like they're in trouble.
All right, Larry, appreciate your time this weekend, too. That is our political analyst, Larry Gersten, on KCBS. And Sports on the News, sponsored by Cars for Kids. That is Cars with a K. To donate your car today. Here's Jeff Colvin.
One of Johnson & Johnson's most famous products, talc-based baby powder, will soon disappear. I'm Jeff Colvin of Fortune magazine with the Fortune Business Update. Johnson & Johnson said it plans to stop selling talc-based baby powder globally next year. amid continued legal battles 2 years after the company discontinued the product in the U.S. and Canada. The company